Till that an engineer named Roger Boisjoly raised serious concerns about the Space Shuttle Challenger launch, citing previous data that showed issues with the O-rings on the rocket boosters. Despite this, the ill-fated launch went ahead as planned. Boisjoly became a speaker on workplace ethics. We all knew if the SEALs failed the shuttle would blow up. Armed with the data that described that possibility, Boisjoly and his colleagues argued persistently and vigorously for hours. At first, TIL managers agreed with them and formally recommended a launch delay. But NASA officials on a conference call challenged that recommendation. "I am appalled," said NASA's George Hardy, according to Boisjoly and our other source in the room. "I am appalled by your recommendation." Another shuttle program manager, Lawrence Mulloy, didn't hide his disdain. "My God, TIL," he said. "When do you want me to launch next April?" When NASA overruled the TIL engineers, it was with a quote that no one who works with data, on the front lines of a project, should ever forget. "Take off your engineer hat," they told Boisjoly and the others, "and put your management hat on." Well, the people behind that recommendation managed their way to 7 deaths and a spectacular setback for the US space program. Just imagine all the times people fixed a problem that stopped a major disaster but went unrecognized because there wasn't a disaster. The most tragic thing is that even after the no-go recommendation was made, an engineer, Bob Ebeling, told someone, his wife I believe, that the Challenger is going to explode the night before it did. It's very galling to think that a group of capable people were ignored for no good reason and that the crew could have been saved. It wasn't just Roger but Alan McDonald as well. Up until the last seconds before launch, Alan pled with NASA to stop it. https://www. nasa.gov/centers/langley/news/researcher news/rn_colloquium 1012. HTML. Alan wrote a book, Truth, Lies and O-Rings, a little while back that is really good. He used all of his documentation and notes for NASA and Morton Thiokol. It really sucks that the astronauts survived the initial explosion. Surviving that only to realize that an impact with the ground is going to kill you must have sucked. I remember watching Challenger when I was in kindergarten. We all watched the explosion, but I don't think anyone realized what was happening until the teacher said "Oh my God" and started crying. Reminds me of the concerns people had for the foam that flies off during shuttle launch and was ultimately the cause of the destruction of Columbia and the death of her crew. There is a documentary narrated by Neil deGrasse Tyson, Nova Maybe, detailing how it happened and people finally listening to an engineer who kept saying the foam did it after the tragedy. There's a thought problem called Carter racing where the high points of the Challenger disaster are used in a decision whether or not to participate in a car race. I found it interesting. http://cbafaculty.org/critical%20 thinking/1/_problem solving gone decision making as and pre-reads. PDF, http://cbafaculty.org/critical%20 thinking/1_problem solving gone decision making as and pre-reads. PDF. Roger was chief engineer in regards to sealing modalities on the SRBs. He'd been raising concerns for months about gas blowby on recovered boosters from previous missions. They'd had an emergency conference call with NASA the night before and the Thiokol engineers advised a no-launch status because of temperature concerns. NASA management basically threatened Thiokol with losing future contracts and an hour later all the engineers had been bullied into giving an okay to launch status. When Roger went home his wife asked him what was the matter. He replied, "Oh, not much apart from they're gonna kill the astronauts tomorrow." Many believe Roger died prematurely due to the loss of the crew of the Shuttle Challenger. I remember my father, a civil engineer, nodding and saying well, yeah, when he learned that the O-rings failed due to the low temperatures on launch day. The properties of O-rings weren't exactly a secret in the general engineering community. Boisjoly shouldn't have had to fight alone. The Hubble faulty telescopic mirrors have a similar story. A testing engineer was brought out of retirement to ensure that the mirrors were properly ground. http://people. TAMU. edu/vbunger/658/Hubble. PDF. However, the manufacturing company, despite other signs that the mirrors were flawed, turned down the engineer's request for some pretty simplistic tests that would have revealed the flaws. In fact, when the engineer, Rod Smith, would knock on the door to the grinding room, the techs would turn up the radio to pretend that they did not hear the knocking. There is a great chapter on this incident in Edward R. Tufte's book, Visual Explanations. Images and Quantities. Evidence and Narrative. This and its companion books by Tufte should be must-read for anyone who presents information. Basically, Tufte shows a better way to present data that might have convinced the powers that be to postpone that launch till warmer weather, the cause of the failure of the booster O-ring. His presentation, in my mind, makes the decision to launch totally indefensible. Great, terrible, example of poor understanding of data by the levels of management making the go flight call. The data suggested no correlation between temperature and performance, how well they sealed, but that was because they only looked at data for a range of about 60 to 90 degrees Fahrenheit, IIRC. The day of the launch was so much colder that they completely missed the correlation that could have saved lives. Why pay the guy if you are not gonna listen? It's like they say, every disaster movie starts off by managers/leaders ignoring the advice of the experts. Yeah, the O-ring seals couldn't perform as well expected below certain temps, and basically it was a flying Molotov. My local elementary school was named the Christa McAuliffe School that year, NYC 1986. I was 9. The normalization of deviance. Here is a short clip of one of Roger Boisjoly's speeches on ethics in business and his own personal experience here. https://udb/on9p0q9ekr4. There is also a very interesting case study video on ethics in civil engineering in the context of the Challenger disaster here. https://udb/qbty_wlhyi. But it wasn't just him. There were several people on the engineering team that expressed concern, and it was widely discussed whether the launch should go off or not. Here is a link about another engineer from Morton Thiokol, the manufacturer of the solid boosters. He had refused to sign off on the launch the night before. https://www. NASA. gov/centers/langley/news/researcher/news/rn/_colloquium 1012. HTML, https://www. NASA. gov/centers/langley/news/researcher/news/rn_colloquium 1012. HTML. And more good stuff here. https://en. Wikipedia. org/wiki/space_shuttle_challenger/disaster #thiokol%e2%80%93 NASA \conference \call https://en. Wikipedia. org/wiki/space_shuttle_challenger_disaster #thiokol%e2%80%93 NASA _conference_call. I took an engineering class my freshman year about how it is our duty and right to whistle-blow when we do not feel comfortable with how someone is executing any design signed off by us or something we worked on. The KC Hyatt Regency collapse and this were both used as examples. Management will not listen. I was a production analyst and I spotted some fire-related safety hazards. Boss told me that was not my job. The resulting fire destroyed over $100,000 inventory. My boss told me to lie about what I had reported to him. I said NP. And if I found more to report them. The hazards were in a supply shed that was not occupied. I found more but said heck it. The shed burned down and over $2 million was destroyed. He was an asshole and still runs the business. Who cares? I did. But this was known at the time. I remember news reports about him wanting to delay the launch, but it had become a media event. My great-grandfather used to do shuttle inspections for NASA. He quit when his bosses expected him to greenlight them regardless of any issues, and he did not want to be held responsible for anything that might happen.